Multicultural Counseling, Queer Youth of Color, by myself, Will Saunders, for COUN 736, Multicultural Counseling. Primary areas of focus. The primary areas of focus include introduction, description of target population, the role of counseling and counselors, evidence-based counseling approaches, potential barriers to multicultural counseling, implications for practice, racial identity development, social justice and advocacy, reflections, and references. The focus of this presentation is to discuss some of the challenges of queer youth of color in the United States through the lens of multicultural counseling, cultural competence, and advocacy support. Statistics in regards to young people of color who identify as LGBTQ+, bullying, suicide, and suicidal ideation, and effectiveness of school counseling programs that address some of the specific needs and challenges of this population will be highlighted. According to COUN, about 3.5% of U.S. adults, or 9 million Americans, identify as lesbian, gay, or bisexual, and 0.3% identify as transgender. The target population for this presentation is LGBTQ+ youth ages 13 to 17 living in the United States. LGBTQ represents individuals who have an affectional and/or sexual attraction to members of the same sex, gay men and lesbians, individuals who have an affectional and/or sexual attraction to members of both sexes, bisexuals, and individuals whose gender identification is inconsistent with the gender they were assigned at birth, transgender. The Q represents individuals who identify as queer or who are questioning their sexuality. LGBTQ+ or queer youth of color make up approximately 627,000 young people in the United States currently. Some additional statistics. Approximately 1.9 million American young people between the ages of 13 and 17 identify as LGBTQ+, according to UCLA School of Law Williams Institute. According to a survey done by Human Rights Campaign, or HRC, the following statistics were found. 77% of LGBTQ teens surveyed report feeling depressed or down over the past week. More than 70% report feeling worthlessness and hopelessness in the past week. 1 in 3 LGBTQ+ people identify themselves as people of color. Only 26% say they always feel safe in their school classrooms. 5% say all of their teachers and school staff are supportive of LGBTQ people. 67% report that they have heard family members make negative comments about LGBTQ people. And according to Sue and Sue, LGBTQ+ youth are more likely than their heterosexual peers to attempt suicide. Role of counseling and counselors. The role of a school counselor involves improving student success for all students by implementing a comprehensive school counseling program that includes defining, delivering, managing, and assessing support services provided to students. Also, according to ASCA, school counselors help students form healthy goals, mindsets, and behaviors. School counselors demonstrate the belief that all students have the ability to learn by advocating for and contributing to an education system that provides optimal learning environments for all students. I've defined cultural competence and multiculturalism as well, as they are important as they inform the counseling services provided. Cultural competence is defined as the awareness, knowledge, and skills needed to function effectively with culturally diverse populations. Multiculturalism is defined as the integration, acceptance, and embracing of cultural differences that include race, gender, sexual orientation, and other socio-demographic identities. Role of counseling and counselors continued. The four major areas and roles of counselors include define, which refers to student and professional standards, manage, which involves program focus and program planning, deliver, which includes direct and indirect student services, and assess, referring to program assessment and school counselor assessments and appraisals. Evidence-based counseling approaches. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, is one of the counseling approaches that may work effectively for this population. Some of the benefits of cognitive behavioral therapy include it's well known and widely accepted as a form of treatment. It is both brief and time limited in comparison to other therapy styles. It's highly engaging and holds patients accountable for their therapeutic outcome. CBT is effective in treating anxiety and depression among other psychological issues. It is based upon the idea that our thoughts, not external events like people or situations, are actually the cause of our feelings and behaviors. CBT also helps people understand that altering their thought processes can lead to a positive outcome. The second approach is mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. Some of the benefits include it is effective in reducing relapse rates of major depressive disorder, effective in treatment of generalized anxiety disorder, or GAD, can lead to a reduction in anxiety, stress, and levels of depression, and is shown to improve overall mood. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully aware of our body, mind, and feelings in the present moment, according to Banner Health. MBT is also proven to show an improvement of overall mood and gives people a greater ability to handle life's challenges. Potential barriers. There are four specific areas or potential barriers that may come about while providing services to queer youth of color. Generalization of clients' experiences, assumptions of clients' situation, lack of knowledge of challenges common to the population, personal biases and judgments. Implications for practice. Some possible interventions include improving practice through the lens of cultural competence, asking the right questions to get to the heart of support and services needed, and being open and willing to learn. Racial identity development, social justice, and advocacy. For people of color, there have been several frameworks developed to describe stages of racial and ethnic identity development. Some were developed as a way to expand on Erik Erikson's model of human development, taking into account factors such as race, gender, and sexuality. These models also have broader applications for understanding how individuals function in community, family, and organizational settings. Social justice and advocacy. Sometimes while providing services to clients, we may determine that we need to refer clients out for external supports and additional helping services. Some of these may come in the form of local organizations and school counseling programs that affirm, celebrate, and support LGBTQ+ youth. There are also national organizations such as the Trevor Project, Human Rights Campaign, and GLSEN. The Trevor Project is a nonprofit organization founded in 1998 with the goal of ending suicide among lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning young people. HRC, or Human Rights Campaign, was founded in 1980 and is the largest LGBTQ political lobbying organization in the U.S. GLSEN is an American education organization founded in 1990 working to end discrimination, harassment, and bullying based on sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression, and to prompt LGBT cultural inclusion and awareness in K-12 schools. Reflections. What have I learned? I've learned that underserved and underrepresented populations require research and openness to learning. Queer youth of color are some of the most at-risk and vulnerable people in the country. That suicide and suicidal ideation, among other mental health concerns, are faced by queer youth of color daily. That more research appears to have been done on LGBTQ plus youth than queer youth of color specifically. And that counselors and helping professionals are essential to helping improve the conditions and environment of queer youth of color. And here are the references.